I'm down on the Texas border along with 18 senators. We made the trip to see the crisis that is playing out. Last month, 100,000 people came across the border illegally. We've got 15,000 kids in federal government custody. This is a humanitarian crisis.
It's a humanitarian tragedy, but it's literally insane policy. We've got a trail here where the U.S. government is marking it for illegal immigrants. And I don't blame the Border Patrol agents, I blame the federal government for creating this mess.
Yeah, and by the way, Ted Cruz not doing that from Cancun on vacation. Senators Cruz and Graham playing Rambo as they lead a delegation of Republicans to see for themselves what's happening at the border and take potshots at Joe Biden, of course, in the process. In this segment, we're going to discuss immigration, the surge in migrants, as well as what can be done about it with former Governor Bill Richardson. He, of course, was the governor of a border state in New Mexico, as well as ambassador to the UN, among other cabinet level positions, etc., relevant to today's conversation. Do you think the administration, the new administration, screwed up at all in that they weren't ready for a foreseeable surge? A, that it happens usually around this time of year, but also people were going to see a change in the administrations as to have a more tolerant administration and would be coming in larger numbers? Or did they screw up more in the messaging, that they were dancing around the term crisis and didn't say, you know, yeah, I'm not going to let a 9-year-old starve at the border. That's not who we are as a country, and explain it better?
Well, I do see a little inconsistencies in the messaging, but the policy that they're proceeding with is the correct one. One, deal with the source. The source is Central American countries that are persecuting their people, hurricanes. Find ways to cooperate with these countries, help them get funded. Number two, deal with children as refugees in their own country. Three, get regional facilities so these children at the same time can get their legal status decided before they come to the border. But yes, find more space for these children right now. Yeah, a little fault in messaging, but you know, the president did inherit this from President Trump. I think we also have to look at asylum policies across the board, but you can't deal with immigration in one fell swoop. You have to go step by step. Deal, as I said, with the dreamers. Deal with the status of those that are already the 11 million that are here. Deal with improving the facilities for these children at the border. I mean, there are 18,000 children. You don't mistreat them. I mean, we are a nation of immigrants. We're a human rights nation. And I think the president and his administration are conscious of that.
Is there something that can be done in that triangle of, you know, Honduras, Salvador, Guatemala, that would make life more livable for folks that they wouldn't come, or are we kidding ourselves?
No, I think an aid package, public-private partnerships at the border. I think the vice president did this when he was, the president did this when he was vice president under Obama. A plan, it obviously wasn't enough. It didn't pass the Congress, of assistance to Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, also finding ways, as I said, to process these kids before they come into the United States, categorize them as refugees in their own countries, build regional facilities to deal with them before they come to the border. And yes, also the Mexican government on our side of the border, have them do more to help us with jobs at the border so this flow doesn't continue as it has.
You dealt with this. I'm curious because the Wall Street Journal of all places says the majority of people coming over, it's not the unaccompanied minors. 60-some-odd% are still single males coming from Mexico looking for work across the border. How do you, or how did you articulate to your state residents to say, this isn't the enemy here? We got to figure out how we're going to deal with this in a realistic way, because it's become about messaging. I saw Ted Cruz and a bunch of Republicans wearing camo, talking as if they have great concern for this population. I didn't hear a soundbite from them when they were separating families or putting kids in cages. So this is about messaging. What is the right message to say? It's not open borders, but, you know, we are America.
Well, the right message is a practical one. Jobs on the border for U.S. residents and for Mexicans. And the way we did this as governor, and there are four governors, Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, California. We work with our Mexican counterparts, with Mexican governors. You know, the Border Governors Organization could do a lot. Just finding ways at the state level. Not all jobs need to be federal. They can be private sector. They can be state related, cooperative ways that we can do things. And that kind of is forgotten. It's all the federal government. Look, the stimulus package was great, especially the provisions on child poverty, the provisions that help families with young kids at the poverty level, helping the unemployed, helping businesses, helping states and local governments. This is monumental legislation that I think will help in large part in some of our border states that have to deal with this immigration crisis.
On a broader level, as you mentioned before, you've long been a moderate voice. When you look at Washington now, do you recognize the capital that you were in, and are you concerned or optimistic that this new administration can get things back to where we hoped before the pandemic, at least we were hoping to head as a country?
Well, this administration is trying. I've known Joe Biden a long time. He's a bipartisan guy. He's always been that. So he'll continue to offer this bipartisanship. I worry that it won't be accepted. I'm trying to be realistic. When I was in the Congress, we all, Republicans and Democrats, we were friends. We attacked each other on the floor on issues, but afterwards, we got to know each other. Our families got to know each other. That's gone, because everybody wants to get back to fundraise or to do social media, to attack each other, to gain advantage. I think a lot of it has to happen within the Congress. I know Speaker Pelosi has tried to do that in the House, but it's not reciprocated. And in the same vein, I think Chuck Schumer and the majority leader have made efforts, but they have to get their troops behind them. And I'm not sure right now this is the time that it's going to happen. But the leader in the country has been the president, and I commend him for him continuing to try. His words to the American people, not just to the Congress, to come together.
And finally, I'd be remiss, again, one of the many hats you had was U.S. Ambassador to UN. Do world capitals trust us yet after the last 4 years, or is it going to take a while?
It's going to take a while. They don't trust us yet because we did so much to get out of our European allies, to downgrade NATO, to downgrade Mexico, Canada, our alliances around the world, to insult African countries. So it's going to take a while to regain that trust. And we're doing that. We're doing that. First, you start with our most immediate neighbors, Mexico and Canada, and I think that's happening. Then you go with NATO, with France, Germany, with Britain. Then you reach out on the COVID issue, climate change. I think the COVID issue worldwide, the president's saying we're going to share vaccines. We're going to cooperate on COVID, on climate change leadership. Work with China, work with those countries that we disagree with. China and Russia will be our main foreign policy challenges. Deal with them on issues like COVID, like nuclear weapons, issues where we come together and leave the issues that we separate each other, fight on those, but don't close the gap or door in negotiating or talking with our adversaries.
Governor, it's great getting your perspective on stuff. Thank you so much for a few minutes. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All the best.
And up next, as Biden continues to go big, the comparisons to FDR, will they keep on coming? After the break, a historian will join us to discuss both presidents, the challenges they faced, and how Biden can do what FDR did, create jobs and dig the country out of a ditch.